Now
on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
6:07, it's O'Connor and Company here on this Thursday morning, and it's a busy one. We got you covered, though, with all the important stories you care about that you're not hearing from the mainstream media. That's why we make sense of the news here for you, so you can seize the day. Coming up at 6:35, Hans von Spakovsky on the latest trial for Donald Trump in Georgia and how that is now in suspended animation. 7:05, John Solomon, Just the News. 7:35, Alex Kershaw is a World War II historian on the D-Day anniversary. And then in the 8 o'clock hour, we'll start at 8:05 with Montgomery County's plan to end remote learning for students who have actually benefited from the virtual school experience. 8:35, Jamie Cutright will join us on Frederick County. That's all coming up. It's Larry O'Connor alongside Mercedes Schlapp. Good morning, Mercedes.
It has been like one of the crazier news weeks. Don't you feel that way?
Yeah, I'll say it is, and it's just going to get crazier right up through Election Day. They want Americans angry and unsettled and depressed and hopeless, and we're bringing them hope. We're bringing them an idea that things can get better.
Larry.
They will be better, right?
Yes. And what does my T-shirt say?
Lions, not sheep.
Lions, not sheep.
I love that.
Sheep. I can't even say the word.
Cheap sheep.
Sheep.
All right. So yesterday was the end of day 3 in the Hunter Biden trial. And here's the thing. The prosecution needs to prove that Hunter Biden, when he applied for and obtained a firearm, was in the throes of rampant drug use, that it's not even a close question. It's not like, there were traces of something in his system from months ago.
Yeah.
No. Mm-hmm. They need to show this guy was a frequent, regular, habitual drug user when he lied on his federal form about his drug use when he obtained a firearm. So to prove that, they have to bring in some colorful witnesses to provide colorful testimony. Let me describe how Fox News wrote up yesterday's proceedings. Details about Hunter Biden's relationship with a 24-year-old stripper, his need for crack cocaine every 20 minutes, and how his spiraling addiction torpedoed his first marriage were on full display for the jury as it considers his first son's 3 felony charges related to the purchase of a revolver in 2018. By the way, I want to point out, because you hear a lot of people in the media saying, that was the old Hunter Biden. He's completely reformed. Everything's fine now. Let's not hold his past sins against him. This was in 2018 when this happened. This was the second year of Donald Trump's term in office. His father had just been in office as vice president 18 months before. This was all happening. And by the way, listen, if he's clean now and he's not an addict, good for him. God bless him. Go with the Lord. But I'm sorry, this was like unbelievable, insane, mind-altering kind of drug use, and it was 5 years ago when this was all happening. It's not like this is, 20 years ago that's being dredged up. This is very current behavior from the first son, who is now going with his father on state visits to foreign nations representing America. Anyway.
I don't know where you want to start.
Yeah, no,
I
just wanted to throw that out if you wanted to. All right, so a little bit more here. Quote, he would want to smoke the second he woke up, says Biden's ex-girlfriend, Zoe Kestan. She met Biden when she worked at a gentleman's club, although honestly, not a whole lot of gentlemen showing up at that place.
Is a gentleman's club like a strip club?
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, gentlemen's club have giant oiled up poles.
Because, when it's Stormy Daniels, she's a porn star, but when Hunter Biden goes somewhere, it's a gentleman's club, not the strip club. I mean, come on, people. Come on.
In New York City, when she was 24 and he was 48.
Oh, wow.
I'm feeling better about my age difference with Meredith now. The court heard continued testimony from FBI Special Agent Erica Jensen Wednesday and from Biden's ex-wife Kathleen Booley, Keston, and gun shop employee Gordon Cleveland, as prosecutors worked to prove to the jury that Biden lied about his drug addiction when he filled out a federal form to buy a Colt revolver gun in 2018. So there you go. By the way, and again, I just want to point out, of all of the things that Hunter Biden has done that we know about, this is like a parking ticket, okay? None of the FARA charges, representing a foreign nation and making millions of dollars. Foreign nations who are hostile to America.
While flying on Air Force Two, where his father, Joe Biden, was on the trip, and then you have Joe Biden meeting with these Chinese executives as well.
Yep.
The whole thing is corrupt. I'm sorry.
Well,
but
it's corrupt, and it's also election interference. Real fast, I know you want to get, but this is the most important thing that came out of yesterday's trial.
Share.
Because the FBI witness, on behalf of the government, had to put into evidence Hunter Biden's laptop. And in putting that laptop into evidence, the FBI swore under oath in a federal court proceeding on behalf of the U.S. government that the laptop was genuine, the laptop was not tampered with, everything on the laptop was 100% authentic. There was no Russian interference. There was no Russian disinformation. There was no... In fact, basically, everything that Joe Biden, the Biden campaign, the people that the Biden campaign paid or coaxed into coming on television or putting out public letters saying that this thing has all the hallmarks of a disinformation campaign, what Joe Biden said in the debate against Donald Trump for president about Donald Trump's claims about the laptop, saying that here, this is what he said during the debate.
There are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plan.
That's a lie. Everything you've heard about this from the mainstream media and from Democrats is a lie. The laptop is real. We've always known that it was real, and they lied. They pretended that Donald Trump not only was lying, but was actually acting as a puppet of Vladimir Putin and the Russian government, and it was all to interfere with the 2020 election. That election is invalid based on what we have now officially been confirmed, what has now been officially confirmed by the FBI, and I am spitting mad about it, and I heard no apologies yesterday. No apologies from Biden, from his White House, from the campaign, from Democrats, or from anyone on CNN, ABC. Where's Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes? Where's George Stephanopoulos? Where's everybody saying, oh, I guess we were wrong. Sorry, voters. Next time, don't trust us.
Let me tell you, I was on that Trump campaign in 2020. We could, during that debate, one of the debates, we could not talk about the Hunter laptop. Every time I was on TV, including Fox, like you could not talk about the Hunter laptop, Hunter Biden laptop. There was no, they would say, sorry, there's no evidence we can't discuss. Sorry, there's no evidence. We can't verify this, so you can't bring this up on air. And so it was such a coordinated attack, coming with the Biden people, with the FBI involved. Like it was disgusting. It was awful. It was awful.
Well, and by the way, the FBI knew about it. The FBI had this laptop since 2019, December of 2019, and was when it was turned over to them. They knew about it.
Disappointing!
This is election interference.
Journalists, yes, complete election interference.
Anybody who has questions about about the 2020 election, and people want to talk about the voting machines, and they want to talk about the ballots and the drop boxes and the mules and the covering up the windows when people are counting ballots, and you should talk about all of those things because none of that has been resolved. None of it has been actually answered properly. But all you got to do is look at this. This is election interference and tampering at the highest levels. As you hear, I'll let Joe Biden continue here.
There are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plan. They have said that this has all the 5 former heads of the CIA.
Okay, so those 50 intelligence officials and the 5 former CIA directors, they should all lose their security clearances. They should all be publicly shamed. In fact, they should be brought up on charges for making false statements under their official capacity. Mm-hmm. But none of it has happened. But that is election interference at the highest levels, and the corporate media went along with it. The only place, you just said, Mercedes, you were working for the campaign, you tried to talk about the laptop. You know where you could talk about the laptop? Right here. Right here.
WMAL.
We talked about it. Through the entire convention, through the entire campaign, I should say. We had wall-to-wall coverage on the laptop, and we were called conspiracy theorists. We were called fake news by some of our own colleagues.
Yeah.
And now the FBI has vindicated. All right, I've got more on this. We need to continue to revisit what was said about this laptop. John Solomon's going to be joining us later to talk about it as well. He was one of the point people on this story, but I'm still spitting mad about it. And this story hardly got any coverage yesterday, too. It was like, oh, by the way, that laptop seems to be real. Could we have our election back, please? Could everybody vote again then, please, based on that?
Just take a deep breath.
I'm not.
You're going to get through this.
I can't.
You need
I'm going to hyperventilate.
I need to. We need to make sure you live for a long, long time. Okay.
Right. It's 6:16. Let's get to Jamie Whitten now. I'm sorry. I'm getting worked up, Jamie.
Worked up.
At least the roads are better than they were yesterday. I'll give you that.
Oh, my
I'm going to my
goodness.
peaceful place now.
WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
Live.
From the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios.
Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Later this morning on the Chris Plant Show, today is D-Day, the 6th of June. We sent Joe Biden to Normandy, but he doesn't know why. 9 a.m. on WMAL.
Was that your laptop?
For real, I don't know.
I know, but you
my
know
point
that's
is,
this
I
is
really don't know.
Okay.
The answer is
you
that's
don't
the
know
truthful
yes
answer.
or no if the laptop
I don't have
was
any
yours.
idea. I have no idea.
So
whether or
could
not.
have been yours.
Of course, certainly. There could be a laptop out there that was stolen from me. There could be that I was hacked. It could be that it was Russian intelligence. It could be that it was stolen from me.
That's Hunter Biden in an interview with CBS Sunday Morning. Boy, some tough grilling there from the reporter. And then, of course, his dad during the debate.
There are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant.
Hey, Republicans over there in the House of Representatives, I know that you're busy. I know you got a lot on your plate. How about 50 subpoenas for those 50 intelligence officials? It's actually 51. Joe couldn't even get that talking point right. How about subpoenas for each and every one of them and trot them out in front of which committee do you want? The Judiciary Committee, the Intelligence Committee? I don't care. Each and every one of them under oath. How did you reach this conclusion? Who compelled you to write this story? Did Anthony Blinken or Jake Sullivan working for the Biden campaign ask you to sign this letter? How did you come up with this lie? And explain to us now why you should continue with your very, very valuable security clearance that you now use as a consultant or a board member on these great companies that build weapons for America that you now get to get rich off of with that great security clearance you've got. Well, you're using that security clearance to lie and interfere with an American election. So you're done now in this town. That's how Democrats would play it, Mercedes. Where are the Republicans on this?
Well, you do have the fact that, and this broke yesterday with the Oversight Committee and the Judiciary Committee, that they're referring the Hunter and James Biden for criminal prosecution. Our committee this was the Oversight Committee on X, saying our committee along with the Judiciary Committee and Ways and Means Committee today sent criminal referrals to the DOJ recommending Hunter and James Biden be charged with making false statements to Congress.
Right.
So, look.
Criminal referral that Merrick Garland will ignore.
Yeah, they are going to ignore. And this is the problem. It is you might be smart for them to say, okay, let's subpoena some of these national security officials. We know that just yesterday on MSNBC, John Brennan came out and basically said that President Trump shouldn't even receive national security briefings because he's, quote unquote, a convicted felon. So like these guys, it's very clear that their goal is to protect these national security officials, is to protect Joe Biden, protect the Biden Inc. family, and continue to spread lies. And I think it is absolutely disgraceful.
There's a lot of targets here, and I'm spending time focusing on Joe Biden. I'm spending time focusing on the 50 intelligence officials that were cited, and the media. And let's get back to the media for a minute, because let's not forget this. This is weeks before the election. Donald Trump on 60 Minutes.
This is 60 Minutes. And we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, I think
Leslie Stahl, 60 Minutes. What we can't by the way, what do you mean you can't verify it? The Daily Caller verified it. Peter Schweitzer verified it. They made it available for everyone to verify.
Yes.
They ignored it.
They ignored it. They didn't verify it, quote unquote. Like the Washington Post didn't verify it until what? Like what year? After the election.
A year later.
It took them a year. They figure out everything about Donald Trump because they have so many reporters just trying to go after and destroy Donald Trump, go after conservatives, go after Republicans. But yet when it comes to Hunter Biden, they can't verify the laptop.
Everyone in this town knew who Hunter Biden was. They wrote Vanity Fair wrote an article about it a year before Joe Biden announced he was running. because they knew that Hunter Biden was a liability. How does Leslie Stahl keep her job and a stellar reputation in this industry after that
no stellar
performance?
Reputation.
Will 60 Minutes do a complete and total turnaround this week, retract the entire thing, apologize, say that we misled our viewers, we were irresponsible, we affected the election? Will that happen on 60 Minutes? Of course not. Of course not. But you know what? I mispronounced somebody's name doing 4 hours of live radio without a script. Boy, I get, you get Media Matters writing 10 pages worth of bits and bytes on their website.
The left-wing
calling for my
propaganda-
head.
Yeah, left-wing propaganda is real. They are effective in protecting their people. And we on the conservative side have a lot to do to catch up to even remotely protect conservatives and really go after the left, because they do it very effectively. The left comes to destroy, and while we are like trying to be like, okay, what subpoenas do we have to do today?
Right. What I's do we need to what T's do we have to cross?
Yes.
Get aggressive. I'll say it again. Republicans in the House. Speaker Johnson, I know his staff listens. Sometimes the speaker listens. 51 intelligence. You heard it from Joe Biden during the debate. Can we hear it again?
There are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant.
Those former intelligence folks who put their names on that letter, they interfered with the election. They corrupted the 2020 presidential election. They were either used as pawns and hapless tools on behalf of Joe Biden, or they willingly did it to tip the scales of the election. They willingly lied. Every single one of them should be called up under subpoena, under oath, to explain exactly why they said what they said, who compelled them to say it, and name names, point fingers. Otherwise, they lose their security clearance and they no longer make that big paycheck that they make in this town. What's stopping us? There's nothing stopping Republican majority from doing that. They interfered with our election. I want our election back. It's 6:24.
Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
6:37 now this Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us. Coming up at 7:05, John Solomon's going to explore what we were just exploring in vivid and, energized detail. The Hunter Biden laptop now validated 100% in a court of law. So where do we get our election back? John Solomon on that and many other stories that he's following. Also at 7:35, Alex Kershaw, World War II historian on this D-Day anniversary. At 8:05, we'll speak with Andrea Livy of Montgomery Virtual Academy Parent-Teacher Council out in Montgomery County. And at 8:35, Jamie Cutright, same thing out there in Frederick County as they're trying to save the virtual programs that have benefited many children, as they're trying to do away with them. I'm Larry O'Connor alongside Mercedes Schlapp. Good morning, Mercedes.
Good morning, Larry.
It's our pal. Look who's here. It's our pal. You've had an hour to practice it. Can you introduce him?
Oh gosh, no, you got to do it. I already said I'm calling him Han Solo moving forward, so there
Han
you go.
Solo. I appreciate that. I got a bad feeling about this. It's Hans von Spakovsky. He's the manager of the Election Law Reform Initiative at the Heritage Foundation, former member of the Federal Election Commission. And he also served notably as one of the members of the Fulton County Board of Registrations and Elections that administers the elections in Fulton County, Georgia, which, of course, has been the center of Fani Willis's attempt to prosecute Donald Trump and all of his lawyers and advisors under a very dubious interpretation of the RICO law. Hans, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. And Mercedes, I hate to tell you, but that was my nickname in college, was Hans.
Oh, see, I knew there would be a connection there, Hans.
Oh, man,
I just thought, you're as cool as Han Solo, so and you're trying to save. He had to save the
galaxy.
His yes, exactly. So you're trying to help save Western civilization. There you go. There's a connection.
All right, Han Solo. I by the way, I want to know the backstory of that college nickname, but we'll have to get to it another time. Tell me about what was decided here. As we know, the judge had originally decided to sort of split the baby on this whole scandal involving Fani Willis and her paramour, a private lawyer that she basically funneled tax dollars to be the special prosecutor. The judge said, all right, one of you has to go. And so, and now the defense is appealing that decision, saying, no, Fani Willis has to go. And now where does this stand?
Well, that order by Judge McAfee was what's called an intermediate order. It's not a final order. So in order to appeal his decision to the Georgia State Court of Appeals, they had to get his permission to do it. He gave that permission. And so Donald Trump and a number of the other defendants went to the Georgia Court of Appeals and said, you need to take this case. Judge McAfee made a mistake. He should have ordered both Nathan Wade and Fani Willis off of the case and not given them a choice to have one of them stay. The Georgia Court of Appeals, again, because this was not a final order in the case, it was an option. They did not have to take this appeal, but they took it. And what they've now done is they said, we're going to hear oral arguments on this case on October 4th, and we are staying or suspending all further action in the trial court until we make a decision. And that's a crucial thing, because McAfee, the trial judge, while he gave the defendants permission to go to the Georgia Court of Appeals, he didn't suspend the case. It was moving forward. Fani Willis could keep going with it, but now that is totally stopped. And yeah, look, I guess it's possible that the Court of Appeals might render a decision before Election Day, but I just don't think that's going to happen, and there's no way we're going to get a trial before Election Day.
Hans, what is the expectation coming out of October 4th? Let's say the Trump team wins the appeal. What could happen to the case? What if they lose the appeal?
Well, if they lose the appeal, then it'll go forward with Fani Willis on the case. But there's some prior, if Trump wins, if the Georgia Court of Appeals says, no, Fani Willis also should have been removed from the case, there's prior Georgia precedent saying that if you have to remove the DA, the county DA, because of a conflict of interest or other ethical problems, it's not just the DA who's removed, it's his entire office. So if they followed that precedent, then not only would Fani Willis be excused, but the entire Fulton County District Attorney's Office, and they would have to get the case transferred to a different county where that DA would take a new look at all of this and decide whether to continue with the case. That's what ought to happen.
Yeah. And once again, because I see, Joe and Mika and our friends over on cable news saying, well, it's just another delay tactic here. One man's delay tactic is another man's due process, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, Hans, correct me if I'm wrong, but, if Fani Willis hadn't come up with, again, this really creative new way to look at the RICO law, which has never been applied in this way before, or for that matter, Alvin Bragg coming up, I love they call it a novel approach. No, he's inventing law out of the thin blue air. It's never been applied before in this way. And oh, by the way, if Fani Willis wasn't having an affair with this dude that he's flying off to Costa Rica with, while at the same time naming him special prosecutor, it's like this due process is there for a reason. And all of this points back to misdeeds by the people trying to prosecute Donald Trump.
Oh, look, I couldn't agree more. When Fani Willis came out with her indictment, look, I'm a licensed attorney in Georgia, and I wrote a very long piece, very specifically going through all of the problems with that indictment and why she's trying to criminalize perfectly legal and constitutional activity. In essence, what she's saying is that First Amendment activity, publicly saying that you actually won an election instead of losing it, and going to government officials and trying to get them to fix the problem, that's criminal activity. It's not. That is such basic activity protected under the First Amendment that it's just astonishing to me that this case was filed. Well, not so astonishing when you consider that she is a politically ambitious local prosecutor who wants to become a national figure on the Democratic Party stage. That's what's behind this.
Well, I'll just real quick. Do you think she'll have any problems getting reelected, Fani Willis, or is she a shoo-in despite all this? Chaos that surrounds this woman.
Well, unfortunately, she's a shoo-in because Fulton County is a predominantly Democratic district, the same way Manhattan is, which is why Alvin Bragg was able to easily get a jury to convict Donald Trump in another totally bogus prosecution.
All right, we got to leave it there. Hans von Spakovsky, always good to talk to you, sir, as these things unfold. I don't know. I would call all this stuff election interference, but I'm a rookie here. You're the expert.
Well, no, I think that's what you ought to call it.
Thank you, sir. Always good to have you there from the Heritage Foundation. It's 6:50 now, and this is the anniversary of the D-Day invasion, as all eyes are in Normandy right now for the 80th commemoration of that day. And this is one cool thing that's happening, Mercedes. 10 U.S. legislators, members of the House of Representatives, 9 Republicans, 1 Democrat, veterans of the armed forces, are going to dress in World War II military uniforms and then jump from a C-47 military transport plane and parachute in, just like the paratroopers from Band of Brothers did 80 years ago.
That is so
today.
neat.
It is.
Would you jump out of the plane?
If I knew that Corey Mills and Michael Waltz had my back, sure, absolutely.
I'd be attached to like Corey Mills. I'd be like, I'm holding on as tight as possible.
Daryl Issa, Dan Crenshaw, Derek Van Orden, Rich McCormick, Keith Self, and the chair of Homeland Security, Mark Green, will all be jumping. It's a super cool thing. And honestly, and again, I don't want to sort of tarnish this with politics, but it does make me kind of sad that representing the United States is Joe Biden. Whatever remarks he delivers will be weak and pathetic and barely coherent, for that matter. And frankly, I'm going to be turning on Ronald Reagan's speech from 40 years ago.
There you go. Or you know, I would want to say I just saw this video of like about 4,000 high school kids standing up applauding.
Oh, I know, I saw that.
The World War II veterans, and you know, like this is what they would call nowadays like toxic masculinity. It's like, no,
Thank you.
we need strong men. We need strong young men.
Yeah.
We need the men who are going to be brave and courageous to protect us. To protect, you know, the women and children. That is what we need.
You don't think the drag queen that the Navy hires to do Instagram? You don't think the drag queen that the Navy hired to do Instagram to help recruiting? You don't think that those are the people who would storm the beaches of Normandy today if we had a chance? I don't know.
They can't do it. They can't
really
do it in the
intolerant.
They can't do it in the high heels. It just doesn't work.
I am so thankful that last summer Meredith and I got a chance to go to Normandy and see all of this. Everyone should make this pilgrimage. Everyone should make the trip. It is
the sacrifice
stunning
of these people
and incredible.
Yep.
God bless them. Coming up at 7:35, we're going to have World War II historian Alex Kershaw joining us.